1904, they set up an office on Ellis Island to help immigrants trying to make their way to the United States, like this little 18-month-old girl sitting in a Red Cross basket. She arrived in New York from Europe with her family. Here she is waiting for her parents to be cleared through customs. Or this little boy wearing a feather headdress, making his way off the USS General R.M. Blatchford. He arrived at Ellis Island in 1951. Because going through Ellis Island wasn't always easy, it usually took some time. They built this hut for the Jewish Harvest Festival of Sukkot. The idea was that if people who were Jewish were coming through Ellis Island and they couldn't make it to their destination in time, they could still celebrate that holiday with their families while they were still in process. You can see that same group at work in Warsaw and Poland, people trying to flee Eastern Europe. They helped this 77-year-old widow make her way from Ukraine to Culver City, California, to be reunited with her son. You see that badge on her lapel? Can we zoom in on that? See that? If you recognize that, that's actually the same badge that we saw on the baby. See that? See the same badge on the baby? And actually, look at the man who's holding that little boy with the headdress. See, they're all wearing that same badge? HIAS. Stands for the Hebrew Immigrant Aid Society. Now everybody just calls them HIAS. They're the oldest refugee agency in the world. They were first established in 1881. Think about that. 1881, to help Jewish refugees make their way out of war zones and persecution and away from pogroms, to help them get to safe places. Over the years, their mission broadened to help resettle refugees of all kinds. HIAS is one of 9 agencies that has a contract with the State Department to help refugees resettle inside the U.S. The group says, quote, "We used to welcome refugees because they were Jewish. Today, HIAS welcomes refugees because we are Jewish." HIAS has been doing this work for over 130 years all over the world. But it's because of what happened now in one American city this weekend that we're talking again about this particular agency, because when that gunman burst into the Tree of Life synagogue in Pittsburgh on Saturday, part of the record he left behind online is that he repeatedly, in rage, named that charity, that specific Jewish refugee agency that has brought so many people from so many different traditions out of danger and into new lives. Joining us now is Mark Hetfield. He's president and CEO of HIAS, the Hebrew Immigrant Aid Society. Mr. Hetfield, really appreciate your time tonight. I know this has been a very, very difficult time. Thanks for being here.
Thank you, Rachel.
Can you tell us a little bit about how people have responded and the kind of response that HIAS has experienced since the name of your group and the mission of your group and apparent rage that this inspired in the gunman was identified as part of this tragedy?
I mean, the response has been absolutely incredible. We have people of all faiths who are contributing to HIAS. We've been getting many, many calls and letters and emails from ordinary people, from people who have been helped by HIAS, from people whose grandparents were brought here by HIAS, from members of Congress, senators, even the Secretary General of the United Nations called me.
We're looking, as we're talking to you, at some images of vigils that have been happening, not just in Pittsburgh, but around the country. This is obviously the worst attack that's ever happened to the Jewish community in the United States on American soil. What do you think would be the right measure of how we respond to this as a country?
I mean, I hope this is an opportunity to re-examine how we speak about the other, that we re-examine what we're doing in terms of fighting hate speech. There's just too much space right now for hate, and that's what happened here. I mean, when you have hate speech, hateful speech almost always leads to hateful acts, and that's exactly what happened here. That's what happened last week with the pipe bombs. I mean, we really need to re-examine our national discourse, and we need to do it on an individual level. We need to do it family by family, institution by institution, and certainly we need our elected leaders to set an example for us, a positive example.
I mentioned that yours is a very long-standing organization, the oldest refugee organization in the world that's continuously operating. It's a big organization. It does a lot of good work around the country with people from all over the world. This big contract with the State Department to help resettle refugees. I wonder, since the name Hias and the gunman fixating on Hias, again, surfaced in relation to this tragedy, I wondered if you had been reached out to, if you'd heard from the White House or the Secretary of State's office or anybody else at high levels of the U.S. government, either just to check in or to touch base about moving forward.
Nope. We were very clearly identified as being a motivation for this murderer. But we've gotten a lot of phone calls, a lot of support. We've heard nothing from the White House. We've heard nothing from the Secretary of State. And, we partner with the State Department to welcome refugees. We're one of 9 agencies that works in partnership with the Department of State to resettle refugees in this country. And we do it here in Pittsburgh, in partnership with the Jewish Family and Community Services of Pittsburgh, which is a terrific partner. But no, we haven't heard anything from them.
Mark Hetfield, President and CEO of the Hebrew Immigrant Aid Society, thanks for being with us tonight. I know this is, again, a very difficult time.
Thank you, Rachel.
Okay. We'll be right back. Stay with us.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.